I have transitioned from primarily using my F-150 to my Sprinter van. And this Sprinter van has been phenomenal. It has actually been just increased efficiencies like you wouldn't believe. I can also transport product and have it be more protected. So I'm actually arriving with everything just impeccable. Now, here's where the challenge came. I immediately started using the Sprinter and I didn't fully port over my kit from my truck. So, we're going to start off this season by gathering all of my materials. We're refreshing the items that I need on the day to day, and I'm just going to take you through how I am prepping this van and organizing it for just maximum efficiency this fall. Also, behind me, you can see a sneak peek. These are containers that are going off to a client. So one of the things that I have learned about myself over years and years and years is I like my things that are ready to just grab and go right here. Now, what is different about the Sprinter is that we also have a water bottle area right here. My assistant loves her water bottle, so I always want to make sure that this spot is saved for her, but we've discovered through a couple months of use that we really like gloves up here and horis down here, because I think I've said it once before, but I will say it again. If you give me a hori, I can do just about anything. This is one, oh gosh, she is dirty. Hang tight. Okay, this is actually one of the other items from my kit. It is just a brush because sometimes it's nice before you put all this stuff away, just to give everything a quick brush off. Boom, nice and clean. This is one of my favorite horis. I didn't show this one in the Janie video because it's the one that I keep in my van. I love this thing, and I actually put it in my Amazon store, so all the links will be there. You guys always ask about it. Here she is. So this guy, first and foremost, goes down here. Okay, next thing. Water bottle area has to stay clean. However, I really like gloves to be right here. That way my assistant is just like ready to rock and roll. I do need to do a quick reboot on these gloves. I'm out of my neoprene ones. I just have a few. Let me see if I can gather a couple more. Here we go. These are actually the ones that I really enjoy using. I like that they're thin. They've got this little bit of coated inside. This is my favorite. Oh, but I've got two lefts. What the heck? So we are just going to go and throw in this backup pair. These are not my favorite. I sometimes feel like they're just like too, I don't know, like too thick and stiff, but they're a good backup. These ones are also the ones that I enjoy when I'm moving pots and I'm doing heavier lifting. I don't like these as much for fine planting, but it's nice to have some options in here. So I go ahead and layer those in here, and I'm going to put the new gloves that we're getting, they should be arriving tomorrow, right on top. Okay, now the other thing that we really like to have on hand, I have a couple of more public projects that I work on, and when I'm in those scenarios, I actually like to use a disposable glove just because you really never know what you're going to find there. So I actually may do this instead. Disposable gloves, quick and at the ready, hori, right on top. Okay, this side panel is ready just the way we like it, ready to do our installs. All right, next up, we have this front glove box. Now, the Sprinter doesn't have a traditional glove box that closes. It's just this big open dude. So I'm going to give it a quick vacuum here. Alrighty. And we're still kind of figuring out how we like to use this best. I'm also still learning my Sprinter van, and so I'm going to leave this here for the time being. As I get more used to it, I will probably move this owner's manual to the trunk that I'm going to be installing. However, it's nice to have a quick reference. This also holds insurance, license, registration, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right, next up. I actually am thinking I'm going to put this little guy in here, and I'm going to show you why. In my F-150, I had a little pen cup, and it was like the best. It was so fantastic for making notes, all that kind of stuff. Actually, let me run inside, and I need to grab one more thing for this. Okay, I'm back. This was the other thing that I was missing from this van. I'm constantly searching for paper. These, for whatever reason, are totally my favorite. And so she is going to get tucked right in there because we always are making notes when we're on a job site, when we're at the nursery. Sometimes, like, pen and paper, it just works. Okay, so I was looking for something that would fit, and I have all these little 4-inch guys. And so, boom. We are just going to pop a couple of these cute little pens in here. That guy's great. This guy is tiny. It'll work though. I also love to have a pair of scissors up here. It's just nice to have. And then this guy. This is another item that honestly I cannot do without. This is a water key. A lot of our commercial spots have a hose bib that needs a key for access. So we like to keep this right up here. That way it's ready to go. No problem. Last but not least, sunscreen. I'm always trying different brands. This is a Glow brand, SPF 40. Boom, and she goes, when you're a fair girly, you gotta have your sunscreen. I have 2 more things that I wanna put in here. Extra napkins. I feel like that's something you always need to grab immediately. And first aid kit. This is just a small first aid kit. I like to have a little something immediately accessible. I have a larger kit that I'm gonna stow in the trunk. Okay, driver's side. Okay, now one thing I didn't mention about the Sprinter is that this little pocket down here is not accessible when you have the doors closed and you're driving. This is great because I can keep a hory-hory down here and it's super safe. If we were getting in an accident, it wouldn't go flying. So I'm actually going to take this cute little bucket of snips and they're going to live down here. The other thing I'm going to do on my side is I'm going to keep my gloves down here. So this is going to be kind of my go zone. So I'm in charge of the snips. My assistant is in charge of the hory-hory, but we both know how to access this super easily. The thing that I'm actually going to put up here, these are all of like my personal care section. We run a lady crew. So we have lady supplies in case one of us is surprised at that time of the month. And then the most important, this is my snack bag, you guys. I am running a million miles an hour during installation season, and so I just keep granola bars. These are these Bobos. I love these things. They're gluten-free. And then sometimes I'll throw in even like my kids' applesauce pouches because it's a good, just quick hydration fruit. And so this is my on-the-go bag when I've forgotten to pack something and I am starving on a job site. The ladies and I have a little something to grab and enjoy. Here is our next adventure. Okay, I purchased this. It's just a classic bin. Let's see here. It's a 27-gallon with a tight-fitting lid. And the reason I decided on this is because, again, tight-fitting lid, and it fits really easily underneath here. So now the trick is I am someone who prefers to micro-organize. What that means is I like everything to have its own little spot. So I've brought out some organizers from my house to see how we can get this adjusted. These are items that we don't necessarily need to grab every single time, but they are essential when we are on job sites. Okay, I kind of want to start by just getting a few of these in. Interesting. Actually, let me try it this way. Oh, that's actually perfect. Okay, that fits precisely all the way down. So that's making my heart very happy right now. One of the first areas that I want to get locked down is my irrigation. When I'm installing on a job site, if it's a pre-existing container, landscape, etc., I like to have a few little irrigation pieces in case something happens. So first and foremost, I have flags. Now, it has happened time to time when I will be installing bulbs or a new container or a new plant in a landscape, and I will nick a line. As soon as I find it, I will take a flag and I will mark it, so that way, either myself or one of the crew members can come back and do that repair just lickety split. So I cannot be without flags. The other thing that I have is this is kind of a little go kit of wonders. I have in here, I've got a little bit of 1/4 inch line. I have some uh, little pieces to kind of patch things together. These are kind of like, if I need to extend a line for some reason, I can clip it on either end and extend that. I've also got some elbow pieces. This is just a really good, easy little kit. Pops right in here. Of course, you can see how dirty it is from the truck, but this is a very valuable piece of irrigation repair kit just on the go. So that's fitting perfectly there. Okay, kind of my next area that I want to focus on is all of my cleaning supplies. When I'm on a job site, I like to leave it really spick and span. It is literally leave no trace container installation. So I like to have a couple things. First of all, I keep some all-purpose cleaner. Every once in a while, I'll have like a sticker that's stuck on a container, something like that. This is really good to have in case of those incidences. This is an empty all-purpose sprayer. I like to keep this empty. I don't put any sort of chemicals or anything in it. Sometimes you just need some water. Okay, that's going in next. When I am working with different plants and I need a quick sterilization, I do have some disinfecting wipes that are really good. I also have some isopropyl alcohol. I think that goes in next. If I am really getting after it, doing roses and such, I will keep isopropyl alcohol quick and at the ready. And so this is a great sanitization item. I did purchase some new rags for this season. The ones that I had are super tattered and gross looking. So just some all-purpose rags are going to go in here. Last but not least, we've got a little roll of blue paper towels. I don't have a lot of space there, so I think I'm going to stick this in with the irrigation. She's very close. Okay, this is feeling very good. I've got my little bitty brush for just cleaning off dirt or anything else. This is a nice one to have on hand. And then I also have two other things. I have some SOS and I have some 3-in-1 oil for my pruners. I think I might actually do some tool maintenance, and so I'm going to keep this inside the house. Going through my box of wonders, I found a few more landscaping flags. And I also have a roll of garbage bags because, like, you just never know. You know, it's just a good thing to have on hand. I also have a couple Sharpies. I'm going to put these in the container in the front compartment. All right, next up, I'm going to start with this main compartment, and this is going to be where my big things go. Sluggo Plus. I have tons of slugs all over my landscapes, and so in clients where I'm doing a spring refresh, I will just automatically put a little bit of this down so that their hostas don't get eaten alive. In the spring, when I'm doing rose care, I always like to keep some rose food on hand. And then I'm probably going to use this up this season. This is pansy and fall flower food. Again, in she goes. Okay, going through the truck, I found one more item, mycorrhizal fungi. This stuff is great. I use it a lot when I'm doing some new plantings, especially when planting new roses. And so I'm going to chuck this in here with my amendments. All right, next, I found a few other things that I kind of want to play around with. First things first, tape measure. This I'm actually not going to put in here because I need to tape measure a lot. So I'm actually going to put this in my assistant's side pocket because then it is easy and accessible, and you would be surprised how many times I use this. All right, next thing is I've got a bunch of kind of like really important things to have when I'm hauling things. Some of these will stay in the truck, some of them will stay here, but I love being able to tie things down. There are hooks on the walls as well on the floor. So if I'm hauling heavy pots or anything that I want just to secure my load, these really important. And here you can see these are all the ratchet tie downs. This will go in there. And again, more tie downs, bungees, all sorts of different straps. Again, really valuable to have. And I do have a set of this in the truck, so I am not without. Okay, that is feeling pretty good here. And then these are some flat bungees. I'm just going to throw them in here. Okay, we are looking really good. This is making me, oh, I also found one other thing. This is calcium, magnesium. This is one that I've been trying on different rosemary plants because I'm finding that rosemary just really doesn't like to be in a pot for me. So I have this. So just in case a client needs a treatment, I've got all of that available there. Okay, I've got one more bin right here, and I think this is going to be reserved for labeling and small plant care. I'm gonna walk you through what I mean. Okay, as always, lots of jute twine. This is a really important thing to have on hand for tying things up. And I also have a bunch of plant stakes. I do have a couple clients that I add edible containers to. They're landscapes, and I'm always refreshing those, and I like to label things with a beautiful label before I leave. It's just like it's just a nice finishing touch. And so these ones are just shorter version. I like the taller ones, and then I just keep the marker inside so it's nice and dry. Okay, great to have right there. I also found a few more spare gloves. I actually wonder, I'm playing with subdividing this, but I think I don't need that. I think I'm gonna use this cute little crescent garden basket for something else. Okay, so boom, put that in there. Oh, I found a few more snips when I was going through the truck. I'm gonna put, this one is really nice for super fine work. This is my fine detail stuff. This is gonna go in my side pouch of my driver's side. Last but not least, I have this guy right here. This is my Dram watering nozzle, and this is one of my favorites of all time. I love my choice of spray. It is super easy, and then also this, I just find having a little adjuster here, nothing that I'm squeezing. I use my hands so much that I find this little kind of lever is much easier when my hands are tired. Occasionally I'll be on a job site, they'll be missing a nozzle, and I always like to have my own. I use it just every once in a while, but when I need it, I want my favorite. So that is gonna go right in there too. Oh, and I found two other things. I've got a just kind of a rubber mallet. I always feel like I need this. And zip ties, because honestly, you never know. These two items I kind of feel like may go in with my irrigation supplies because this is very much my in case stuff happens pile. So let me actually, I wonder if this sleeve will fit in here. Oh, let's see. Oh, she's just a little too tall. I think that means it's gonna go right in there with my truck stuff. Okay, this, my friends, is looking really good. The last thing that is going to go in here is actually two things. I keep a spare hat for sun protection, and I have some that I really enjoy, but this one is a very good kind of like, if I need something, I need it. There we go. And because it is the fall, I'm actually going to start by loading just right on top of all my basics here. I'm going to go ahead and put in my rain gear. Here in the Pacific Northwest, sometimes fall will come out of nowhere, and I have been installing in a complete downpour many a time. And so I have overalls, these are bibs, and then this is a matching Carhartt jacket, and This set actually used to belong to my dad, and so now I get to use it on the daily. All right. And what I love about this is the lid is so darn secure. And so I feel like it's not going to go anywhere. It's heavy. It's super flat. Perfect solution. I think I'm just going to leave it like this. The other nice thing I was thinking about is because this has sort of a tray on top, I could store plants on top of this if I ran out of shelf space, which in these heavy installation months, that'll happen. I will fill up literally every square inch of this van. All right, next thing is the items that I'm going to put right here that are the real quick grab and go ones. Okay. Okay, so these cute little baskets actually used to be filled with toys in my boys' playroom. And now that they're a little bit older, they don't really have a need for it. But what I have a need for is a step stool and all of these bags that we go through pretty readily, as well as a kneeler, because occasionally I'll be installing on concrete and that's pretty hard on the knees. Now, I'm going to try these out over here, kind of back behind my seat. However, I may, once I get all of these pots out, I may shift them to the left because when we open, it's really fun to just grab a bag, grab the plants, and we're off just like a shot. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to line these one back the other. Let's see how I feel about that. Actually, that's not bad. Let me try a couple other things. Okay, so I will say I don't use my step stool as much as these other items, but I do really like to have it here because I'm 5'3", and so I can't reach a whole lot. And what I'm kind of thinking is this is my landscape fabric that I do my drainage taco with at the bottom of my new containers. And so I do like to have this, and I kind of find that back in here, let's actually see. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. All right, maybe that is a good place for that to be. And then I can scoot this down a little bit closer to wedge it in. And then over here, I can have all of my bags kind of at the ready. So literally I could come back in here, grab a bag, grab my plants, and be out the door. Okay, not bad. I do have, I think I want to put some cleanup tools in here with my step ladder because that is, oh, all right. I don't think that's going to work. I don't want that thing flying around while I am working. Okay, she's getting 86th. Goodbye. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm an idiot. Look at this. Boom. She's right in there behind everything else. Okay, that is like perfect. Awesome. Love that. And then maybe what I do, actually, you know what? I think I like this better. Okay, that's like a perfect happy accident. So I still have my things here. I still have my kneeler. I'm going to add my cleaning supplies right in here. This is like dustpan hand brooms because those are other things that I'm always cleaning, always at the ready. Okay, let's grab those. Okay. I like to always have two, plus like sometimes an old-fashioned hand broom is real darn nice. It just does the trick. Okay, that is fantastic. You guys, I think this is almost completely ready to go. I'm nearing the end of this organizational project in my truck. However, this is one of the most game-changing things that I implemented this past color season. And let's see here. Let's actually see if I can store these right here. So perfect. Okay, these are my beloved Bootstrap trays. And honestly, they are a little dirty. I need to give them a clean. But several of you are the reason that this has become one of my most beloved items in my toolkit. These trays are so durable. They're not like twisty and bendy. They don't melt in the sun. Okay, please tell me I'm not the only one who has left like a tray or a 6-cell pack out in the sun and it just like deforms. I don't like that. I just really have a hard time with so much plastic waste in my business. And so these trays have been instrumental. So what's really fun is say I'm doing an installation and I just am like kind of like not finding the combination I want, my assistant will literally take one of these trays, run to the van, and fill it up with, say, like, I'm like, gosh, I'm really missing like a textural bit. I'm really missing like another pop of color. I'm really wanting something that's like silver foliage. And she will grab one of everything and bring me like a little poo-poo platter of items for me to play with. And we are both obsessed with our Bootstrap trays. So they are in a place of prominence. I will use these on the daily, probably for the next month and a half. They are just spectacular. These next two items are going to seem a little bit silly, but I can guarantee you they are crucial parts of my business. This first thing is this old nursery bucket from Monrovia. This is an old centerpiece bucket, and what we started doing is detagging all of our tiny 4-inch pots when we are in the van before we go out onto the job site. I don't want a chance of us leaving a tag behind, and also it just looks cheesy, all these little plastic tags. We can also lay all of the product out in the van and very easily and quickly go through and detag it, even from a seated position, which if you're working all day on your feet in various positions, sometimes it's nice to have a seat and do some light lifting. This other item is going to be my new fertilizer bucket. You know, I have dragged around bags of fertilizer for as long as I can remember. This past spring, I had the unthinkable happen. I had a bag of fertilizer right here. I thought I had closed the biotone, and literally, as I am driving, I slowed down and the entire bag just went ksh, and biotone spread all throughout my van. And I can tell you that was a very stinky car ride. So we are changing it up. We are going to go ahead and get a brand new bucket for the fertilizer. I'm going to put a proper top on it. And this is going to be one of just, I think it's going to be a game changer, not only for this van, but for our installations. And I had a surprise. Okay, do you guys remember when I was down in Oregon visiting my friend Claudia? Well, I rolled up to her house and she was like, hey, Carla from the Samoa was here and she left you a present. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love Carla. And she left me a giant bag of Biotone because we met at, oh gosh, we met at the event that Janie was doing in California back in the spring, back in May. And we got to talking and I was like, girl, I go through epic amounts of this stuff and I just love it. Anyways, I kind of fangirled for a second and I was like, honestly, it just has made a huge difference in my containers. And so she left me a little present. So Carla, if you're watching, thank you. I'm very excited. And we now have a proper bucket to decant all of this good stuff in. Okay. Good luck, Biotone, getting out of this bad ride. I am so excited. Oh, and this is just a 2-gallon bucket with a lid that I picked up at my local Ace Hardware. As I was going through the rest of the items that I'm transferring over from my truck, I did find a couple other things. The first is this little cutie. This is a hand saw. It's made by Corona, and I've used it for a very long time. And it essentially just flips out. You just push this button right here, and I will show you what it becomes. It flips out into a blade like this. This has saw teeth on it so that it cuts going forward and backward, and I can tackle a whole lot, and I mean a whole lot of pruning projects with just a tiny bit of sweat and this little guy right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and close this guy up, and it actually folds super safe and secure. And I'm going to put this with my other kind of pruning essentials because every once in a while, I will be on a job site and I will notice that a client has a broken tree limb or something really needs like to be pruned, but I can't get through it with a pair of Felcos. So this is going to go in that side pouch along with my 2 other pruners that I happened to find when I was digging through stuff. The other thing I found was a whole bunch of these landscape staples. I always keep these on hand because every once in a while you'll have a piece of like Netafim, the line that's popping up, or maybe something needs to be extra secured inside a container when I've got drip run into a container. For some reason for me, I actually like to keep these with the snips, like just in my brain. That's how it works best. Actually, you know what, I was thinking about putting it for a second in with my irrigation tools, but I grab for these way more than I do my irrigation repair kit. So yeah, I think the door is where they should go. This actually is an item that I use quite frequently. One of the other things that I have noticed that I need to start keeping in this van is some Swiffer sweepers, some dusters, and then also I bought this handheld vacuum because when you have a, we'll call it a dirty career, you get dirt everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. And also with this open van, the other thing I didn't realize is I have my fair share of spiders. And even though they're not big spiders, they're not harming anybody. I still don't like driving with um, cobwebs on my dashboard and covering my front windshield. So I'm going to end this video. We're going to give everything just like a nice little wipe down, give everything on that dash a nice vacuum, and we are going to be ready for seasonal color. So this is what I'm talking about. I have spider webs all over this little van of mine. They are everywhere. So I'm going to get this taken care of. And there's another one right here. It's so gross. Do not become a landscaper if you are afraid of spiders, because it is officially spider season in the Northwest. Spider season. Okay, this is the last item that I love, that I use on the daily, and I always need in my van during container season because I'm not a large person and I'm not as strong as maybe I'd like to be. I have to use tools to help me leverage. And this is one that I cannot believe I waited until I was 40 something years old to own. This is a Costco kind of like all-in-one situation. It is a furniture dolly. I can lay it out flat and it has a handle and I can push it down pathways and all sorts of stuff. And so this is incredibly useful. I will even throw these giant containers, and I'm not just talking about this guy, I'm talking about these giant ones here. I'll just lay down a blanket and put that right on top, and it makes my job so much more simple. And so this is something that I've got it all ready to rock and roll. She sits back here. When I have my other rack in, I actually bungee it to this so it's nice and safe and secure as I'm driving. I'm getting my van ready, I'm getting my tools ready, I'm getting my life ready so that I can be my best gardener self in the coming months ahead. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to see you in the next one. And in the meantime, as always, please say hello to your garden for me.